Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about how we can go ahead and set up the password protection across Microsoft Entra ID for the whole tenant, right? And also how we can enable and integrate it with the on-premises environment. But for on-premises environment, definitely we should have right set of environment to be deployed it, right? And I'm going to show only what are the options where we can enable it, but I'm not going to do that or show you in the practical scenario when it comes to on-premises scenario. But in the pure cloud environment, I'm going to show you how we can do that, right? Because for the on-premises environment, there is need of on-premises AD server, and then we have to deploy an agent as well, right? So that agent is going to be deployed there, and then there's a need between on-premises and the cloud to be synced together so that that is going to be used and is going to simply show or enable the password protection on it, right? So now the question would be how we can protect the passwords, right? And how we can make sure the data, or not only data but identities, are also safe, because as soon as users credentials are safe, that means at the end, or the end goal here is to save the identities and data and access levels of the user accounts and identities, right? So let me go ahead and give you more details on how we can do this, right? So there are certain things that we can do in order to protect the passwords with the Microsoft 365 environment context, right? And by creating the password context list, so here we would be creating a list of passwords, and those passwords would be part of banned password list, right? So now, what is banned password list? So banned password list is something where we would be allowing or adding certain keywords, like maybe particular organization services that they are providing, particular organization's products that their organization is using, right? Let's say we have a product for marketing or sales, and we don't want users to uh, enter or give the password of those products names or those services names on their different systems access, right? Because people are tend to use those keywords or words simply in order to simplify their password creation as well as password access and usage of the systems and applications, right? That's definitely going to be something which is easy to guess for bad actors, and bad actors are trying to always get into the systems each and any other ways, right? So this is something which is very important for organizations to take that step first, and then make sure identities or systems are safe and secure, because users should be blocked in order to use those keywords, use those products names, use those services names that company is providing and that the business is doing, right? Let's say there is an organization who deals into the financial services and they have certain products as well, right? Now employees are using their product names as a password. That means that's too risky, right? So bad actors can simply easily find and do their research on the internet, and everything is available. Let's say that organization has their website, and the organization is listing out their products on social media like LinkedIn platform, as well as on other their websites and other platforms, right? So those products are available for customers to buy, and they can use it for their businesses. And people as an employee of that organization are simply creating passwords with those product names or service names, and then even their own names as well, right? So that is something which we can enforce, at least not to create passwords with those service names, those product names. And the commonly uh, words, like if the organization has financial domain that they are dealing with, we can block those certain words which are commonly used by that organization for the whole business that they are dealing with, right? So that means we can block those words, and simply, even if people trying to create birthday or passwords with their respective keywords, respective services that they are dealing with, that means we are going to stop them, and that is not going to allow them to create passwords. At least it is going to enforce them to search different and unique words or unique characters instead of using those product keywords and characters, and then they have to set those passwords, right? So that's the custom band list which we can do. And let me share my screen so that you can get more clarity on it, and we can go ahead and see more on it, right? So here on the Entra page or Entra admin portal, right? So this is the password protection, and under here you can see that this is the whole setting that we need to do and we need to set up. Now you might be wondering, only this much setting, how come this setting is going to help us, right? So you can see that we have different custom lockout settings that we can configure, right? Then lockout duration in seconds, then the custom band password enforce custom list, whether we wanted to enforce it or not, and then custom band password list that we can create and put all those passwords here, right? And then there are two other options where we can enable the password protection for Windows Server Active Directory as well. By enabling this on the Windows Server, it is going to make sure the password protection is also enabled on those servers, right? So, and the mode, so there are two modes. One is with enforced and audit. So let's talk about the lockout threshold here, right? So lockout threshold is something when user tries to change password and okay. So let me share it again since it was disconnected. I will reshare it quickly. All right. So I was talking about the custom smart lockout feature, which is here at the top, which is lockout threshold, right? So this is something when user is trying to log out or sorry, log in into the system with their credentials. And if they fail to enter the right set of credentials, then we have put a threshold of 10 here, right? Let's say 10 is the highest, and maybe we can say we don't want to set that level of threshold. Instead of that, we can put it 5, right? So 5 is too much as well because we don't want users to give too much attempts or too much chances to try to get in if in case the right set of user is not trying to log in. That means the user or the person who is trying to access the system, he or she is not the right user and someone else is trying to access the system by entering the credentials, right? So if and user fails that attempt, those 5 attempts will be failed and then user accounts get locked, right? So this is a smart lockout feature which is going to identify and detect each user's action, and it is going to lock that account after these many attempts, whatever we are going to set it up here, right? So let's say we set it 5 and user tries to access and then user enters the wrong passwords or user tries to guessing the passwords and then enter it again, and then it is going to simply lock out. Once it is locked out, then uh, it is not going to let users to regain access immediately because we are going to define lockout duration here in seconds, right? So this is the 60 seconds that I have put in, but definitely this should be more than 60 seconds. Either we can set it to 5 minutes or maybe around 10 minutes or 15 minutes and let users to reach out to the respective support team or maybe get the help if in case that's the genuine user. And if that's not a genuine user or that's not the right set of person who is trying to access the system, that means he or she is not the right user and that particular user is just trying to get into the system by trying and guessing the passwords and getting into the system. So that's going to be a really bad activity, right? So bad activity as in just trying to just access and get into the system to do something unintentional or do something intentionally as well, right? So this is those features, and those are really helpful in context of Microsoft 365 ecosystem overall. Now, this feature and this capability is a part of Entra ID Plan 2 license, right? And this plan or this license is at the top in the Microsoft Entra license stack, right? So if we don't have this license, then definitely this feature is not going to be available. But once we have that, we can definitely go ahead and enable and deploy this one. Right. So next is custom band password enforce custom list. So there are two options, either yes or no. So the list that we have created or the list we are going to create. So currently I have set only these words, but there are many things that we can set. Let's say maybe I wanted to set x.com, right? So this is something users can try as well. Let's say I wanted to use maybe LinkedIn or linkedin.com, right? So we don't know what people are going to use it, but definitely people would tend to use those words which are definitely the common across, and those are easy to identify and guess for bad actors as well, right? So that is why this list should definitely be created appropriately with appropriate common words and easy to guess words, as well as along with this organization services and products and what the business is all about that company is dealing with, right? And then we are going to create this whole list and enter those list words here. It could be numbers as well, right? Let's say I wanted to put all those numbers, right? And then those numbers can also be blocked as well, right? So password should be something unique and strong, which is not easy to guess, definitely, right? And all those passwords would be blocked as well, right? Let's say I'm going to set, or I have set these many passwords now, right? And if I wanted to see the example of this, definitely we can see that. And I will try to give the password something like this one, right? LinkedIn.com. And we can see that whether this allows us to change or maybe just allows it to use this password, and then user what happens to that user activity, right? So I'll show you that in the example or in the demo, but this is something which we are going to do, or we can, or we must do, I would say, as an a password protection capability of the tenant and for the whole organization's security posture, right? Towards the other features here, password protection for Windows Server AD and its mode. So there are two options. Either we can enable it to yes or set it to yes or no directly. And there are other modes which includes enforce and audit. So if we set it to audit, that means it is going to only capture the logging of those methods or those password changes, activities, and everything, but it is not going to enforce users to not to use any of these words or keywords or numbers or whatever the passwords that we have listed out here, right? And if we are enforcing it, that means it is going to strictly block everything and it is not going to allow them to set or use any of these passwords. Let's say if I set password at 123, that means this should be blocked or this should not be allowed users to use, because this is going to restrict that users in order to set the password because of this policy, right? So let's say we are good here and we don't have on-premises AD. So I'm going to keep it audit mode and set it to yes. And we'll keep it lockout threshold as a 5 and 60 seconds instead of a longer duration for lockout, right? So let's go ahead and save this change, this policy overall. All right, so this policy is saved and I will simply, I think I don't have open. Let me open another window here for one of the user account to log in. I'll simply search or reset the or log into the one of the account that I have created. All right. So let's go ahead and I will copy this email address of this account and log into it. But to log into this account, we need to first use the password, right? So I'm going to reset this password. And once we have new password, Okay, so we'll use this new password to get into the system, and user should be able to log in after the successful authentication, right? And let's see. Okay, I got the prompt. Let me enter this number and authenticate. All right, so now this is perfect. All right, so I'll skip this out and simply I can go to this option, and even now this user is trying to, let's say, change the password, right? And we have enabled this policy and applied it, and I'm going to try and show you how user can change the password. Instead of changing password, how this policy is going to block that password, right? So which password it is going to block? The one which we have already put into the banned list, right? So let's say user is trying to use something which is already into the banned list. That means that should not be allowed to create as a password. All right, so I have given the password, and let's see if it is allowing or if it is blocking. So now it is going to check, and it should be blocked, right? So here you can see that choose a password that is harder to guess, right? So this is detecting because of the policy, right? And also we can go back to the policy here. Let me go back to the policy, and maybe I can use something like this, right? So they say passwords at 1234. Submit it. And let's see. Now it is going to check whether this password is listed or what. All right, here you can see that you used an invalid word. Choose a different password. It means that this policy has kicked out of using this password, and user has to create new password or separate password which is unique and strong in nature, and not easy to guess as well, right? So this way it is going to simply block all of that activities, and user has to keep and use a stronger password every time, even if they are going to change it, because we are not allowing them to change the password or use the simpler password instead of using the stronger passwords, right? So those stronger passwords are not easy to guess and definitely not easy to crack as well. Maybe there are so many, or there need many attempts in order to execute and get into the systems with those stronger passwords, but simpler passwords are easy to get into the systems and crack. And once they crack, that means they would be able to get into the systems and easy to access the system once they have the passwords, right? Now we have seen that the same word is being blocked. Let's say we can try something other password. Let's say this one, right? We have put that here in this list, and we wanted to block that word usage or using, and let's see. So here you can see that create a password that is harder to guess. That means we got the prompt saying that you cannot use this password and it's not right password to use. Instead, you should use a strong and harder to one and not easy to guess easily. And this way you simply be able to get in, right? So now I will do one thing. I will close out this window and sign out, and we can try again, try as in from the login window itself. So I will simply copy this and reopen that different. browser page, sign in, enter this email address, and now here we have forgot my password. So let's say user is trying to log in. Now let the user enter this captcha code, right? And once it enters, now we can click next. And from this page also, user is trying to enter the easy password and which is easy to guess. Let's say as we tried right now, let's say text mobile. So I'll enter the mobile number here and then click text. So it is going to text it out. And let's see once we get the verification code. All right, so I got message with the code. So I'll simply enter that code here for now. And then click next. Okay, it is also going to send an email with the code because we have set that up as alternate method. So let's see. So let me see that if I receive that code. Perfect, I got that code here. I'll simply enter that code 257 and click next. All right, so now we got the password window here and let's try it out. And you can see that which detects the password is as weak. And if I try to set it, it says that unfortunately your password contains word, phrase, or patterns that makes it easy. Please try again with a different password, right? So let's try another, which is already blocked. It says strong, but let's see. And click next. All right. So this is something which is blocking the policy. All right. Now we can use another words those are already a part of this one. Let's say this one. Copy it, give it here. You can see that it shows and it considers as a strong password. But if I click next one, it is going to simply throw it back. All right. So this is the message which says that unfortunately your password contains words, phrase, or patterns that is banned by your organization, right? And please try again with a different password, right? So banned by your organization, you can see that this is the statement or this is the message which is giving the clear indication that the policy has been blocked with those words, those phrases, and you cannot use those at all, right? And that is why this policy is going to be really helpful and really great in this case because we don't want users to use those keywords, those phrases, and those numbers as well, right? Majorly those words, those are the common words like Facebook and maybe any social media platform or any services, any product that we are using daily in our life, right? Even let's say I'm using Windows 11 device, and if I try to enter Windows 11 device, and that's part of our banned policy here. Now, you might be wondering if we are saying that those are the easy to guess, then user might try to enter easy passwords, right? Let's say we don't have Windows 11 used words, right? That means this user would be able to do it. And let's say it shows strong, but here it says that the password you enter does not match, right? But it says the password you enter do not match, right? So let's say Windows 11, I will put it again and next, right? So even if you enter these easy passwords, this policy, or even the automated intelligence of the password protection is definitely going to block those keywords, right? Because it knows, even if you don't have, or even if you did not block those words. Now I have not put Windows 11 word here, but still it is going to block that word, and it is not going to allow users to set that as a password, because it's easily guessable and can be easily tried and accessed multiple times and replay the kind of attacks, right? So this is something is very important, and set it up appropriately, and can save users to use simpler passwords, and users should be using strong, unique, and very different passwords for each different systems or applications, right? So yeah, this was the topics that I wanted to talk about and show you, as an end user experience, as well as an administrator, how we can set it up and what are the things that we should do and should not, right? And definitely let me know your experiences, your thoughts around it. Have you implemented this? What are the challenges you faced? And it would be great to know each others and see how we can help each other. And let me know if you have any questions, any doubts, anything that you wanted to. And yep, don't forget to watch other videos around 365 Entra ID and other topics around it. And yep, towards the end of this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends, colleagues, and others who are needs to see and watch. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.